Um, what's the use of being chair if you don't get to have some sort of word? Um, as, a couple thoughts. One, and these are quite random, really, but I was really impressed, and was mentioned earlier, with the interesting, thoughtful work done on prioritization for risk assessment and risk assessment generally by people with relatively modest budgets, I'm sure, like Heather Patterson's discussion of what is done in Canada, Gina's discussion of what California has done. California is not poor, but it's not the federal government. I thought that was quite impressive and useful. Second, there seemed to be some difference of view as to how to think about the EU's REACH program. I mean, I think it is. It seems to me it's a very big deal. And what strikes me is that, well, I know Europe is not the United States, but it seems to have gone over rather well and relatively easily. And I think we ought to take heart from the fact that that is the case. When you then, of course, look at the discussion that Richard Dennison and Michael Walls had, that also, as Bernie suggested, ought to give you a little bit of heart, because there's some significant differences, some of them relating to the California and other state preemption issues. But the fact that everybody agrees that this 35-year-old statute needs to be updated is a good start, and actually it goes beyond that. I do think for purposes of Kathleen and others here, a point was made very early on, is that one missing element here, especially when you talk about toxic chemicals, is somebody representing labor and the workers that are really exposed. We do pay attention to environmental justice issues, which of course involve differentiated impacts, but we do need to recognize that some people are a hell of a lot more exposed to these chemicals than others, and if there are categories like that, we need to have them participate in this session. Let me end it there, and once again thank all the presenters for really thoughtful presentations, and everybody in this room for taking the time. You know, there are a lot of busy people in this room, for taking the time to participate in this. The roundtable doesn't end up with the recommendations or consensus views, but it is an important disseminator of views and an important place where people come to gather new ideas. I think this was accomplished in this session, and I'm very grateful for all of you for making it possible. And with that, exactly 4 minutes late, the session is adjourned.